Seeker. It says we're live. Going to try something a little bit different tonight. I need to create some video so that I can edit later. Going to try to get into my editing, and perhaps in this stream I'll create some video that I can add some content to and make some decent short videos. But what I'm going to do is recap everything that's buzzing in the news right now, Monday, April 14th. Of course, I put out quite a few videos today and did a live earlier, so I've already covered a lot of the news, but there's even more that I haven't gotten to. One of the big stories today, Katy Perry, Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez all traveled to the edge of space, at least so the mainstream media says. And from NPR to the New York Post to Fox News to the Free Press to People.com to CNN, they all have Katy Perry's name first. So I guess she's the most important of that list. Of course, she's the musician, Gayle King, the news lady, and Lauren Sanchez is Jeff Bezos' new lady. And of course, he sent them all to the edge of space in a Dr. Evil dick rocket. And remember the last time they had this big dick rocket thing, Michael Strahan was on there with some other celebrities and even a guy named Dick. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. And if you missed my coverage of that a couple of years back, they literally had it synced up with Michael Myers, a.k.a. Dr. Evil. Austin Powers is more real than our news. But anyhow, in light of Katy Perry being the top name in all the headlines, her numerical value of her name, Katy Perry. If you're new here, this is GematriaEffectNews, 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 GematriaEffectNews. I don't think anybody really knows how to say the word, but again, the word represents the practice of coding numbers into words. Her name, Katy Perry, equates to 104, and here we are on the 104th day of the year. And it's just like the leader of El Salvador who met with Trump today. His name equals 104. The leader of El Salvador meeting with the chump on the 104th day of the year. Also noteworthy, Gayle King. Her name equates to space in 2 out of the 4 base ciphers. Again, if you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers to the English language, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. Gayle King happens to equal 91 and 44, as does the word space. And Lauren Sanchez, the I forget if she's married to Jeff Bezos or if they're just in a relationship. Again, Jeff Bezos got divorced not long after Bill Gates did. And anyhow, her name in the base ciphers, her name, Lauren Sanchez, equates to 147 and 57. Outer space equates to 147 and 57, as does conspiracy. And I covered this in the first book I wrote in 2017. If you look at the base ciphers in outer space, it has perfect overlap in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. Outer space and conspiracy. With the alphabetic order, it's 123, like 1, 2, 3. With the reverse alphabetic order, it's 147. With the reverse in numerology, it's 57. And what else is relevant about that in light of space history is that Scottish Rite equals 57, as does moon. And supposedly the Scottish Rite flag was planted on the moon in the 1969 moon mission in the time of Cancer. As for the 147, Freemason equals 147. Scottish Rite is a branch of Freemasonry, if you don't know. But yeah, again, just obvious news by the numbers, perfectly coordinated rituals. And one other thing that is noteworthy is today is 97 days before the anniversary of the moon landing on July 20th, and 97 is the 25th prime. And we've just seen a lot of big rituals this year with 97 and 25. Started right at the beginning of the year with LA burning up on the 97th day of the mayor's age while she was out of town in Africa. At the beginning of the year, I also did point out, sadly, that it could be a year full of plane crashes, because plane crash equals 97. And again, 97 is the 25th prime, and it's 2025. There's been so many plane crashes this year in the news that, I mean, I can't even. I think we've covered all of them after I covered this one because I missed one over the weekend. But it's crazy. I've lost count. I don't know if there's already been more than 20. There's probably been more than 20 already. Seems like every other day there's another one in the news. But the latest is former MIT football player who was named the 2022 NCAA Woman of the Year, Karina Groff. She was traveling with her family to her 25th birthday when her plane crashed in New York. And she must come from money because I don't think many of us have ever traveled to our birthday in a private jet. But anyhow, again, plane crash equals 97. It's the 25th prime, her 25th birthday, and the words death. Death, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, is 97, and when you run it in reverse with numerology, death is 25. And there's probably, honestly, a lot more to that story. It happened right before the hockey college championship where Boston University lost to Western Michigan. Of course, the NBA playoffs are getting underway where the Celtics are one of the favorite teams to be in the finals. Finals has a big 25 connection. A lot of times these deaths in the news are connected to the world of sports. And again, she's a notable athlete from her NCAA years. So yeah, RIP to her and her family. Something that was totally wicked and twisted. I'm sure if you were here August 29th, 2024, the big story that morning was that hockey star from Columbus, well, at least he was playing for Columbus at the time, Johnny Gaudreau, and his brother got killed while riding their bicycles in New Jersey, back near their home, along Route 551. And I pointed out how their deaths came right before the college football season was about to get underway. And it was going to be the 155th college football season, the reflection of 551. And I pointed out that morning how from his death to the championship game was 144 days. And he played at the Jesuit University, Boston College for his college years. And Gematria, Boston College equals 144, just like Jesuit order. If you're on Patreon, I kind of gave it out for free to the public that Ohio State had a great narrative to be in the championship based on his death. But if you're on Patreon, we circled 3 teams. It was going to be one of 3 teams to win the college football season before it began. We said it'll either be Notre Dame, Ohio State, or Georgia. And we had a strong hunch that Notre Dame and Georgia would meet up in the college playoff, as they did. It was the 44th anniversary of them playing in the college championship. Man, you might recall before that game was played, you had the game delayed because of the tragic car ramming and shootout in New Orleans. All those crazy stories on New Year's Day, from New Orleans to New York on New Year's Day, to the cyber truck that exploded at Trump Tower. And again, remember the Green Beret that supposedly blew up the truck? His name in Gematria equaled 369, like Tesla has the quote about 369. But anyway, we had futures in for all 3 of those teams, so we were in the driver's seat when the championship came around because it was Notre Dame versus Ohio State. But about Johnny Gaudreau in today's news, I'm getting to a point about why Ohio State was at the White House today on 14/4, like 144. Remember, Johnny Gaudreau wore 13 in the NHL, and Ohio State first beat Oregon in the playoff, keeping them on 13 wins for the year. Then they beat Texas, keeping them on 13 wins. Then they advanced to the championship with their 13th win, Ohio State. And then they beat Notre Dame, keeping Notre Dame on 13 college football championships. And again, doing it 144 days after his death. Big time Jesuit number. And now Ohio State just happens to go to the White House on 14/4. And the story today is that J.D. Vance dropped the championship trophy. Again, J.D. Vance also went to Ohio State. This year, the college championship fell on Inauguration Day. And don't forget, 38 days after the championship, a bodybuilder from Columbus named Jody Vance dropped dead. Jody Vance? 38 days later, when death, just the most simple way is 38. But this stuff's clockwork. Again, we always see the ritualism when the teams visit the White House. It's always the same numbers that you saw during the season. And again, it's why it's annoying that every English speaking sports fan doesn't know about the way the games are rigged and just the ritualism on and off the field. But yeah, just one more 144. Oh, and by the way, they said that when JD Vance dropped the trophy, Queen, remember how Trump came out to Queen on a big ritual back in his first convention back in Cleveland? Back in 2016, he came out with the song Queen, We Are the Champions, perfectly synced with Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Anyway, today they were playing the same song, Queen, We Are the Champions. And what's interesting about that is from the championship to their visit at the White House today is 84 days later. Championship was on the 20th day of the year. Today's the 104th, so it's 84 days later. We are the champions equals 84, like the Jesuit order. The small way, the Jesuit order is 84. The big way, Jesuit alone is 84. The small way, United States of America is 84. But yeah, it just couldn't get any more Jesuit. And again, it's the Jesuits that colonized the D.C. area. It's the reason the capital was moved there, because they run the nation. But yeah, I'll have to think more about if it was an actual, what was it, an actual ritual of dropping the trophy, or was that an actual error? Human error is a real thing, and they might not have meant to drop the trophy today, but that did become the headline. Uh, or perhaps it's symbolic of what's to come. Another thing that's buzzing right now, a 17-year-old Wisconsin teen, that was redundant, killed his parents as part of a assassination plot of Donald Trump, and they're saying he was also inspired by Nazis and neo-Nazis. Now, Wisconsin's one of the true 44 states. Wisconsin and Georgia are the two 44 states. Just like Hank Aaron wore 44, and he played for the Braves when they were in Milwaukee and in Atlanta, and then they took out Hank Aaron by the 44 code. Just before spring training got underway in the year the Braves went on to win the World Series. Another future we cashed in, sadly, off the death of an innocent. But remember, 44 is important because kill equals 44, execution equals 44, shooting equals 44. Very fateful number. MLK killed on 4-4. JFK was the 44th term president. A million others. To remember the killing of Caesar. That was in 44 BC. So anyway, Wisconsin 44. The word teen itself is 44. And this teen has a Russian name with all this Russia business going on. His name is Nikita. And Nikita means unconquered, which I find interesting because, of course, the Catholic Church celebrates the unconquered son. Of course, the Jesuits were once saved by Catherine the Great in the time of their suppression. But this young guy's name is Nikita Kasap, which equates to 193, which is the 44th prime number as well. And just the first name Nikita alone is 44. They say he killed his parents on the Vatican's birthday, February 11th, but their bodies were not found. Actually, there's a discrepancy in all the reporting. Some stories say that the bodies of the parents were found on February 28th, and some say they were found on March 1st. It's not that big of a deal. If it actually was March 1st, that's the 60th day of the year, like Donald Trump equals 60, like he won, with a big asterisk next to it because we know it's all rigged, the 60th presidential election. And don't forget how he sacrificed his ex-wife, who fell down the stairs and died 45 years after their marriage, but she died exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. July 14th, 2022. Special day to McDonald's as well, reminding us of the chumps serving the French fries on Kamala's 60th birthday. But anyway, and I realize that Trump has another thing with 60 Minutes he wants to go after him for. All these 60 Minutes controversies in the time of, Trump and the 60th election. It's It's just maddening that people don't catch on. Have you ever seen so many conflicts with the show 60 Minutes that's been on TV forever? No, not until the 60th election came around. But again, just to bring this up, we're at the tail end of the Illuminati being 248 years old, and we're at the tail end, really, of the United States of America being 248 years old. Again, the Illuminati will turn 249 on May 1st, and the U.S. will turn 249, obviously, on July 4th. Just a reminder that President Donald Trump equals 248, and Trump assassination equals 248. And don't forget, Trump's face is in the Illuminati card game, and it's the assassination card, and it's called Enough is Enough, which has a Gematria value of 78, like Trump is 78 years old, and like the word Jesuit equals 78, and like how the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt created the Illuminati in history. So, yeah. Was the Trump assassination story while the country was turning 48, was it the hoax of July 13th, or is there a bigger shot to come? Because remember, there's all these parallels to McKinley and Roosevelt, too. McKinley was the 25th president. When Trump took office, his first two acts as president, I think, were to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and to rename the mountain in Alaska back to Mount McKinley from Mount Denali. I believe they changed it during the time of Obama. But McKinley was assassinated, and that gave us Teddy Roosevelt as the president. And with regards to Teddy Roosevelt, he was the youngest VP ever until J.D. Vance. And Teddy Roosevelt was shot in Milwaukee, where J.D. Vance was nominated. And Milwaukee, is that in Wisconsin, like where this supposed killer's from? Okay, I think I put that together well enough. The Wisconsin teen killer out to take out the chump. And I just love how they got to give him a Russian name, too. And how he had to kill his parents on the Vatican's birthday. I mean, come on. Okay. Something else that's buzzing. Tucker Carlson. A lot of people think this guy's the greatest truth teller out there right now, which is just completely laughable because he's the same dipshit that goes around with his little Kabbalah bracelet on his wrist, and the same guy who mocked people for 20 years about questioning 9/11. So today on his platform, he has on, and it's funny how they had to point out that the congressman is 77 years old. He had to bring on Kurt Weldon at age 77, which they had to emphasize, to tell the truth about 9/11. And do you think he told the truth today about 9/11? No, it was a total load of shit. He pinned it on Bill Clinton. What else would a Fox News or even former Fox News guy do besides pin it on Bill Clinton? Oh, we finally got the truth of 9/11. It was Bill Clinton. And then if you watch the interview, he went on to how the deep state tried to take out Trump last summer. I was like, oh yeah, this is the most truthful broadcast there ever was. Kurt Weldon, great truth teller. Again, if you guys don't understand the joke of them having to emphasize that he's 77, remember, the Pentagon, it's 77 feet tall. It's on the 77th Meridian West. Supposedly Flight 77 crashed into it. Here we are 20-some years later, and we still don't have any evidence that the plane hit the building. No footage released, nothing. But if you've read the 9/11 Commission report, it says Flight 77 took off at 8:20 and crashed at 9:37 into the Pentagon. It's like, did anyone do the math on that? That's 77 minutes later. How many 77s are in the ritual? And then you learn Gematria, or whatever the hell the word is. You spell out September 11th as words. It equals 77, just like World Trade Center, just like United States, just like Secret Society. The nation's capital is on the 77th meridian. It's known as the Masonic City. Masonry etches on the temple Allah's number, because Masonry is based in Kabbalah, where this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from. Again, in the first paragraph of the Book of Formation, the Kabbalistic text, it says, God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. So, yeah, and then what else is funny about this is if you watch it, he says he was at the World Trade Center in 93 when it was bombed, and then he talks about being from Pennsylvania in Flight 93. His name, Wayne Curtis Weldon equals 93. And don't ever forget that the 93 World Trade Center bombing was the same day the movie Falling Down came out, which is arguably the greatest movie ever. And don't forget in that movie also, if you've never seen Falling Down, make a point to watch that movie. And when he goes into the Korean man's corner store and tears it apart over inflation, pay attention to what the street sign is that's in the shot where the store is. You can't miss it. Once you look for it, you won't miss it. Just shows you how long all this stuff's planned out. Wuhan coronavirus equals 93, and that store in that movie is on the corner of Corona. Just like how the chump was in office when the Corona scam happened, and he printed all that money, causing all the inflation. The whole scene's about inflation. The things we're living out were planned a long time ago. And by the way, how long is it from 93 to 2020? Is that 27 years, like the word ritual equals 27? I'm pretty sure it is. Okay. Yeah, there's some other things that are interesting about this interview today. It was 266 days after Kurt Weldon's birthday. Isus Hominum Salvator, that's the Jesuit motto, equals 266. Again, we're living in the time of the first Jesuit pope, the 266th in the history of the church. His name, just first and last name alone, is Kurt Weldon, which equals 54, like Jesuit order, also like terrorism. A reminder that they killed Osama bin Laden at age 54 on the 54th day of his age. Well, according to the official story. Who knows if he's even really dead. Remember, he comes from a powerful family in Saudi Arabia. He was used as a CIA asset. And don't forget, only his family was allowed to fly out of the United States after 9/11. The rest of us all lost the right to fly. The only people who could fly in the U.S. were the bin Ladens. Talk about mockery. And you know how Osama's dad died, right? Do you know that one? Osama's dad died on September 3rd, 9/3. That's the day leaving 119 days left in the year, like how the majority of the world writes it the 11th of September, 119. Yeah, if you didn't know that, look it up. If I'm not mistaken, he died in a plane crash in 67 on September 3rd. I know the September 3rd part's right. I believe it was the year 67, the year before 1968, which was the years, the year that World Trade Center construction began and 911 became the emergency dialing code. So yeah, again, I put out a short video on this earlier today, but just the president of El Salvador, Nayib Armando Bukele Ortiz. His name equals 104, 104th day of the year. He's meeting with the chump, Catholic educated. His university, his Catholic university he went to, Central American University, it was established on the 144th anniversary of El Salvador's independence, on the 144th anniversary. Like Jesuit orders 144, and here he is meeting with the chump on 14/4. And don't forget, when Trump first became president back in 2017, he posed with the Pope on the 144th day of the year with his family. I'm sure you've seen that photo where Ivanka and Melania are dressed in all black. It looks like they're there for a funeral. The Pope has a really funny look on his face, and Trump has this big shit-eating grin. He's like, yeah, just like that. That's actually pretty good. That's exactly what Trump looks like in the photo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up that photo, because that's exactly how Trump's face is. And I can't imitate the Pope's face. I can't do the poopy pants face. I can't make my mouth go down. I guess if I pull... That's kind of how the Pope looks, like this. Actually, it looks sadder, though. I can't do it. Look up the photo, but Trump looks like a psychopath. Yeah, totally creepy. What they did to Trump's ex-wife in the Jesuit ritual. Oh, by the way, when Trump's ex-wife died, she died she died 144 days after her birthday. I think that's what that was actually about. I think that's what it was about. I think that was the day he learned the script. That don't forget, Jesuit Georgetown simulated that Joe Biden would win in 2020 with the Transition Integrity Project, June 12, 2020, 144 days before the election. President Biden equals 144. He's also Jesuit educated. But I think that might have been the day that they learned what they were going to do to Trump's ex-wife and, of course, the mom of Ivanka. Because it does look like they were dressed for a funeral. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you run it in reverse, instead of Jesuit order equaling 144, if you run it in reverse, it equals 153. And today was 153 days after the leader of the Jesuit order's birthday. I'm sure it's all just a coincidence. I'm sure it's all a coincidence. Okay. I should start offering future bets on if I'm going to end up in that El Salvadorian prison, the way things are going in this country with all the censorship and cracking down. I mean, they've suggested the idea like several times now in the last decade that people like me on the internet might actually be terrorists. Maybe someday I'll be live streaming from El Salvador with Trende Aragua. Okay. Yeah, just another quick recap. Today, the El Salvadorian president and Trump said F you to the judge that said they need to bring back the man who was wrongfully deported. And, you know, Trump saying, hey, I'm the top of the tarot deck. I trump all things. I trump all laws. I'm the proud pussy grabber. You know, I'm the first felon president. That's my favorite. How felon equals 25 like Trump. The first felon president in 2025. And remember, that it was confirmed because he appealed it, and the appeal was rejected on the 25th day of the Pope's age. And Pope also equals 25. Don't forget when the Trump first became president, he said he was cheering for the Patriots in the Falcons game, and the Patriots had the 25-point comeback on 2-5, and the Pope also blessed that Super Bowl, and Matt Ryan, who gave up the 25-point lead, played for the 25 team, the Falcons, but also went to college in Boston at the Jesuit school, Boston College. Anyway, coming back to this, in case you missed the video earlier, the judge who made the ruling that the man needed to be brought back where Trump gave her the middle finger, Judge Paula Zenas, 88, in Gematria. The man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, 88. And I love Abrego, right? It's just like the braggart, Alvin Bragg. Now we got Abrego. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, 88. Maryland, 88. Trump, 88. And don't forget the judge is 88 either. And Trump put in the most Supreme Court justices in a single term in history in his first term in office. Trump has that triple overlap with Judge. Judge equals 88, 47, and 25, just like Trump. And Trump got Gorsuch, and Gorsuch was confirmed on April 7th, 4-7, the 97th day of the year, the 25th prime. And don't forget the Supreme equals 97 either. And then Ketanji Brown Jackson was Biden's first, and they did the process for her on April 7th as well, but then they waited to put her in right before Roe versus Wade got overturned, and oh God, what was it? Dobbs versus Jackson. Yeah, Dobbs versus Jackson overturned Roe versus Wade. It was another big Jesuit ritual. Happened on modern Freemasonry's birthday in the Masonic City. But they just happened to install Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman, just like days before. And then after Roe versus Wade got overturned, they were like, oh, this is going to impact black women the most. It's like, who sits here and watches this shit and doesn't see all the ritualism? They swore her in 2 months ago, but then they waited to put her on the bench until just days before that happens. I mean, come on. I think about the things we've covered in the last 3 years on this channel that have just gotten no views. It's a damn shame. Must have had at least 50 views that should have got 50 million views apiece. Might actually fix the country. Woken enough people up to make a difference. I put out a video on this today too, but no videos really got any views, and I have people asking me to cover things that I covered. So just recapping everything. 5.2 earthquake in California today. As we know, California equals 52, as does Earth. A lot of you who did watch the video said, where's your prediction videos for the earthquakes that you said you called last year? Does no one know how to use YouTube? If you click on a channel name, when you're in the channel, so there's a search engine at the top of the page, but then when you click in the channel, there's a magnifying glass that's down below in the channel section. Just search in the channel. Just search in the channel earthquake, and I'm sure you can find the videos. And again, I never claim that I predicted anything that I haven't predicted. And I could go back and show you the videos anytime. Last year, when the earthquakes landed on the prediction, I went back and played the videos at the time of the predictions that were made. We circled 2 dates for earthquakes in California last year, both based on The Rock, who was in the movie San Andreas, being 52 years old and having a 5-2 birthday. I pointed out how San Andreas equals 96 when you run the alphabetic order forwards, 174 when you run it in reverse, and to expect an earthquake 96 days after his 52nd birthday and 174 days after, because the one 174 days after was days after California turned 174 years old, and 174 days after his birthday is the first day of Scorpio, when he was also the Scorpion King. Again, there were earthquakes on both of those days, and they were very number specific. The first one hit Bakersfield, and it was a 5.2. And then the second one, which was also 44 days after the state's birthday, was a 4.4, like earthquake and military equal 44. Anyway, again, California is 174 years old. From the earthquake that came 174 days after The Rock's birthday to today's earthquake is a span of 174 days. Again, while California is 174 years old, and San Andreas equals 174. And today can be written 14/4, Jesuit Order 144. I just covered this 2 weekends ago about how the Jesuits are the ones who are responsible for seismology. Without the Jesuits, we might not have seismology at all. They're the people behind making this a practice. And what I continue to show about what's reported in the news with these supposed magnitudes is it's all numerical bullshit. Look at how much the numbers change sometimes. Look at what they just did in Burma, where at first they reported as a 7.2, and then they changed it to a 7.7. And if you're not aware, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake is astronomically bigger than a 7.2. So how can the measurement be so off? That doesn't make any sense. But remember, Jesuit order equals 72. And then in the case of the 7.7, it happened at the 770th minute of the day, 77 years after Burma got its independence from the UK. And don't forget about the 7/7 London bombings in the UK either, in 201 Square. And then 77 is the 55th composite number, and military and earthquake also equals 55, and Burma equals 55. And if you missed my video on that, sweet lady, it took weeks to get any connection with her family, but she found out her own immediate family was okay. But a lot of people in Burma right now still don't even know if their loved ones are okay, because they're buried under piles of rubble. And at this point, they're more than likely not, because I don't think you can survive without water and food for this long, not to mention it's hot over there. But yeah, it's a third world nation. So, buildings definitely aren't built to withstand a powerful earthquake. And again, this is population control. This is using military technology to reduce population. Oh, by the way, it was also that earthquake was again also 55 days after the anniversary of the military overthrowing the Burmese government on February 1st, 2021. But yeah, today's earthquake also looks mad suspicious, and it's another 5.2, like California and Earth equal 52. And I did say it was a span of 174 days from the one that happened on the first day of Scorpio. Tomorrow is 174 days after. Today's a span of 174 days. Tomorrow is 174 days after. I still do think that there is a really big earthquake to come in California while the state's 174 years old. It has not happened. There's been several earthquakes, but there hasn't been any big one yet. And I hope I'm wrong about that, but the way these people are, the order out of chaos agenda, the depopulation agenda, I think they got a lot bigger one planned. So time will tell. I'd like to be wrong about that one, but yeah, thankfully The Rock is almost no longer 52 years old. May 2nd, he'll turn 53. And again, for anyone who missed all the work, you can also go back. The videos are still up. I predicted way before last year that it was going to be a horrible hurricane season and it would all be synced up with The Rock. And if you're new here, you should go back and look at how Hurricane Helene and, oh boy, I'm getting Alzheimer's. The two major hurricanes that did crazy damage last year, they were both perfectly synced with The Rock, who again was a Miami Hurricane in his football playing days. Again, hurricane also equals 52. Remember the year before when they burned up Hawaii? That was perfectly synced with The Rock. It was synced up with him announcing the live-action Moana film, where the trailer begins with an island bursting into flame, and The Rock plays the Maui fire god. Maui the fire god. When that happened, I said, just wait until he turns 52. I said, it's going to be even worse. Remember, when Maui burned up, they blamed it on a hurricane that brought no water, just wind, that took down power lines. And then the hurricane landed on the conclusion of Dora the Explorer. It was Hurricane Dora. Hits on the anniversary of Dora the Explorer. And then the only person's house who doesn't burn up on the block is a woman named Dora who paints power lines. I mean, come on. I know what the other hurricane was. It was Milton. Now I remember, because that Hurricane Milton made landfall on the anniversary of the debut of the cartoon Milton the Monster. And all the media kept referring to it as Milton the Monster. And Anderson Cooper, with his big gaping butthole, he was out there in Bradenton, Florida, where Tropicana orange juice was created. And remember, they demolished the Tropicana Hotel earlier that day to make way for the new baseball stadium. But Tropicana was established in 1947, which is the same year that Operation Cirrus took place, the first military experiment with hurricanes. So again, they're putting it in your face if you do your research. They're like, that's why they got Anderson Cooper out there in that location, connected to Tropicana, connected to the same year that the first military experiment with hurricanes went down. So, and I you know what? Honestly, I think Anderson Cooper was like on some kind of set, because if you watched it, he got hit with this huge piece of debris, and he took it like he was nothing, like he was Superman. And if you've ever seen Anderson Cooper in real life, I've seen him in real life just because he was on set at Arizona State University in 2005 when I went there for a whole week. All the news media was, because we had the Bush-Kerry debate. Anderson Cooper is about 5 feet tall, and he's a weird-looking person in person. He wears a lot of makeup on TV. He has like a horrible skin complexion. He had the skin of a 110-year-old mummy. I want to know what his real age is. God, that reminds me. What's the family he's from? That wealthy dynasty family. What's their damn name? Oh, I can't think right now. I am getting Alzheimer's. I can't think of the damn family he's from. Vanderbilt. He's a Vanderbilt. That's what it is. And remember, his mom died. His mom's a Vanderbilt. She died right as Vanderbilt won the College World Series. Remember that one? Nobody blinks an eye at these things. Oh, Vanderbilt's winning the College World Series and Anderson Cooper's mom's dead. Must be a coincidence. Anderson Cooper, who just had an internship at the CIA. This one's a good little nugget for all the NBA fans out there. The Church of Satan, founded in San Francisco. I covered this earlier today too, but make sure this one sticks. The Church of Satan, founded in San Francisco by Anton LaVey. It would have been his 95th birthday on April 11th if he were still alive. But remember, he was killed in a Jesuit ritual. Clear as day when you know the numbers. Makes it clear as day that the Jesuits established the Church of Satan. But anyway, not really Anton LaVey. Anyway, it would have been his 95th birthday. And, you know, the Jesuits and the 95 Theses, and recognized by the Roman Catholic Church on the day living 95 days left here. Anyway, the basketball team in San Francisco, Warriors equals 95. If you write out 666 as a word, it equals 95 in Gematria. The word's numerical value becomes 95. 95 weeks in a day is 666 days. So on what would have been his 95th birthday anniversary, Steve Kerr, the coach of the Warriors in San Francisco, got his 666th career win. Go figure. Again, like I've always said, all of these games are scripted, every last one of them. I get tired of the dummies that kind of go, oh, they can't script every. What do you mean they can't script every game? They are scripting every game. It's why all this stuff's so perfect night in and night out. You're the person who has a big mouth opinion and you haven't done any research or homework. I'm the guy who's been here for every day 12 years documenting this shit every single day. You're in no place to argue. You're going to get smoked every time. The only way to make this kind of stuff line up night after night is to make sure these guys' entire careers are perfectly scripted. Point blank, period. I get tired of listening to all the dummies go, you can't script this. It's like, you can script anything. They're using technology to ensure outcomes, you know. Steph Curry. The era of the magnet. Alonville today asked me to cover the Josh Shapiro governor's mansion fire. I covered it yesterday. And again, it's like I get more people requesting me to cover videos than actually views on the videos. It's sad that the average person, it's very clear that the average person is not capable of clicking on somebody's channel and checking their video tab and their live tab and their short tab to see what the new content is, clicking the magnifying glass to find older videos in the channel to see if they cover a topic. The average person is completely incapable of doing any of those things that require clicking a mouse and typing a few keys. Really basic shit. That's when you start thinking about technology. This cannot be human. The average human can't even do a basic search. There's no way. God. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, again, they said a 38-year-old tried to burn down the mansion. Fire equals 38. This happened 68 days from Shapiro's birthday. Arson equals 68. Again, the speculation is that he's going to be the Democratic, either him or Newsom's going to be the Democratic frontrunner for president in the next election. That's the early speculation. Stories like this just give him more name recognition, help him build more emotional attachment, sympathy with the public. Oh man, that Josh Shapiro, that was scary. His whole family almost burned up in the mansion. Anyhow, 68 days before his birthday and arson equals 68. And the base ciphers, CIA equals 13. 13 again. This happened on the 13th. 68 and 23. He became governor in 23 on January 17th. 2023, that is, on January 17th. From him becoming governor to the mansion fire was his 117th week in office. Central Intelligence Agency equals 117. I think that's who really set fire. They might have used this little patsy 38-year-old, might have been raised in God knows where. But yeah, also this was the 103rd day of the year, and Shapiro equals 103. But yeah, I think the intelligence agencies have a lot of patsies under their mind control, or whatever it is, MK Ultra, who knows. And they do use them for these rituals. And they can say, oh, see, it was this crazy 38-year-old that did it. It's like, I don't know. Looks a little bit too executed by the same old code that the federal government works by every single day. And again, the beauty of something like that is it's not an exaggeration. If anybody would come here and challenge me, like, oh, I doubt they do this every single day. It's like, okay, tune in tomorrow. And the next day, and tune in here for the next 12 years, or go back and watch the last 12 years of content and tell me they're not doing this every single day, because I've been here every single day documenting it. Every single day. It's how we continue to call the elections way before they happen, because we understand how rigged they are and how to see the rigging. Why are you the person out there that doesn't know how to see it in light of all the content yours truly's put out there and other people who've started to emulate? This knowledge should be the biggest thing on the web, because it is the most important thing on the web in terms of understanding how we're being ruled over literally by a cabal that wants to manipulate us, use us, abuse us. That is something people should care about, want to learn about, and want to stop. Instead, the average person watches this, they're like, what's the point of knowing this? They go right back to talking about the news like it's real. It's like, wow. I guess that's where the quote came from. You can't fix stupid. Kyron Lacey, supposedly self-deletion. Again, just every year the NFL draft comes around, there's a dead young college football player. This year it's Kyron Lacey, dead on the anniversary of the start of the American Civil War, the 102nd day of the year. Remember, slavery equals 102 and 42, like the N-word. His name, Kyron Lacey, equals 42. Yeah, there's a few more things to it. I did a short video on this yesterday as well, but it's really just that 10242 piece. King Richard on my video on it left a great comment with a whole bunch more information. He was accused of murdering somebody. His trial was supposed to begin today. The murder happened on the Pope's birthday. He's dead in Houston, and it's interesting because if you look up his college football stats with LSU, he was a receiver. He had 112 receptions, and we call Houston, 112 land. Houston equals 112. Some of the biggest star athletes that ever played in Houston, their names equal 112 too, like people like James Harden. But yeah, RIP to him as well. And year after year, the young players that are getting sacrificed, they're always the same complexion. I don't. Well, actually, I take it back. There was a Georgia football player recently who was white who died, and that he might be the only white young football player I've seen sacrificed in one of these rituals. I've covered about 100 young black men over the last decade. I'm pretty sure that was the first young white guy. There might have been another somewhere along the way, but it is disproportionately darker complected men. And then also, yeah, just this protest of Trump that's coming this weekend, April 19th. Remember, I call April 19th Ignatius of Loyola Day. It's the day he became the first superior general of the Jesuits. A lot of tragedies in history on April 19th. A lot of big history on April 19th. These Trump protests on April 19th. How chaotic will they get? Again, it's very obvious who's pulling the strings on this. They're saying these are grassroots protests. They're not. Far from it. It's not that these people don't deserve to be protested. It's just that these things are really planned and orchestrated simply to create division and chaos in society. And in light of April 19th being the anniversary of the first superior general being installed, the planned protests of Trump and Musk, who are both Jesuit puppets, they're on the 159th day of the leader of the Jesuits' age, Arturo Sosa, born November 12th, 1948. 159th day of Sosa's age, Donald Trump equals 159. So, and again, it'll be 89 days after the administration took office. The word chaos equals 89. It also equals 19, like it's on the 19th. And it's sad, a lot of people will go out to these protests because they are upset. They'll be the paid for protesters that are there, the ones that are doing the same chants nationwide, because who knows where these people get their orders from. But again, you just see it when the paid for protesters get put on camera and somebody says, "Hey, why are you out here protesting this?" They're like, "Get that away from me! I don't want to talk about any of this." It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you not want to talk about it? If you're out protesting, you have a message of why you're opposed to this. If somebody sticks a camera in your face and says, "Why are you out here?" Hey, guess what? That's another opportunity to get your message out in the world that you want people to see apparently on this corner. So again, you just see this kind of behavior, and again, everyone's doing the same, tired chants, and they got their bongos and their chimes, and nothing intelligent to say. It's just. But again, you have the paid for COINTELPRO people there, but that does attract other people to come out who might have a grievance, and when cameras do come through, they'll be the ones to actually talk about why they're out there. But back before I knew everything that I knew now, I was at the May Day protest in 2012 in Seattle. It was the big news story that day. I doubt many people remember it, but it was the big news story because of the chaos that broke out in Seattle. The police had a big tear gas scene. Protesters, just to again go over the May Day 2012 protests. So you had a lot of people there that are like the COINTELPRO, and you just get the feel just being on the ground, like who these types are. But then you have other people that come out that don't like what's going on. The May Day protest in 2012 was just about people being upset about government clearly being controlled by the wealthy and corporations. You'll get like retired old ladies out there that just want to talk to somebody. But anyway, at one point they started a march to do like a square lap through the city and interrupting traffic. But there's not a whole lot of traffic in Seattle during the daytime. It's not like it's New York City. But when they were doing that lap, there was a group of probably 15 to 20 guys who all were dressed head to toe, faces covered, all in black. They all had the same black boots on. They all had the exact same gear. They had these little baton things. They all had a black bag with a brick in it. And when they ran into the thing, they all came in like a school of fish. They were all swinging their brick like this. And one by one, as they'd go by a bank or a major corporation, they'd fire their brick through the window. So they'd break a window here. And then if they saw nice cars on the street, if you had like a Mercedes or a BMW or an Audi or a Range Rover, they would smash up the windows on those cars. They didn't break like Hondas or Toyotas, but they broke luxury cars. And the police were there the whole time. The police were on horse and bicycle, and they're just sitting there the whole time. And the whole march it might have been a mile through the city, making a big square, coming back to the starting place. But the police let this go on. So they go up this block. The police let it go on. We go down this block, and multiple blocks, actually. I forget what it was. 2-3 blocks this way, 2-3 blocks this way, 2-3 blocks, and then back. The police let this go on the whole way. When we're almost all the way back to the starting point, Nike Town Town's closed down in Seattle now, but Nike Town was open back then. The whole group of guys in their black, they all went up to the Nike Town and they all started hitting their batons on the glass of Nike Town, but they had some kind of different glass because it didn't break, and it started waving this glass for the Nike Town window. Like big, I don't know, probably like 12-foot panels of glass. They're just smacking it. And you could see how the glass was like a wave. And then finally it broke. And when it broke, all the police fired in all the tear gas. And that became the scene on the news. And then every news channel, it was about, these crazy protesters, conspiracy theorists, just all the different headlines on the news. And it's just like, you could just feel it, how orchestrated the whole thing was. It was like, why did the cops let that group of people break all that property and go on the whole time? And then right when we're back to the starting point, then they intervene? It was made for TV. And again, the same type of people, those are the same type of people that are used for Antifa now and, paid to go out to these protests, and they don't want to be on camera and they don't have anything to say. They're just going to hold their sign and bang on their bongos. But yeah, again, I do suspect that this weekend's protest, I suspect that they're trying to polarize the people of the nation. They want people to take sides more and more. They want more people to be calling the one side libtards and idiots. And it is kind of crazy, though, just how everyone's just so kosher with Elon's little salute. And I got deleted 7 days after the salute from X. I never had any censorship on there, really hardly at all, until Elon took over the platform, and then I got deleted all the way. And it sucked because that was the platform I was finally getting views on. But 7 days after the salute, I got completely terminated. And again, I think it's because we totally exposed what it was. I showed the day of the salute how it was a complete tribute to Wernher von Braun, who wrote the book Project Mars, where the leader's the Elon, and that book exposes what a little puppet Musk is. But remember, he did the salute on the 207th day of his age, and Wernher von Braun equals 207. And don't forget, Wernher von Braun was like the most instrumental scientist in the moon landing, supposedly, which happened on 27, which was 24 years to the day of Project Paperclip beginning to bring over the Nazi scientists, and Nazis equals 24. And now you get the Nazi puppet coming into office in the election at the end of 2024. But yeah, again, Wernher von Braun, 207, 207th day of his age. And some people looked at that and were like, oh, dude, that's bullshit. That's just a coincidence. And then 2 weeks later, what did they announce? They announced that on that same day, they saved the news, but on the same day that Musk did the salute, Wernher von Braun's wife died. Inauguration day, January 20th. And don't forget, Wernher von Braun had died 47 years ago. Mars has a 47-year orbital cycle. Sig Heil equals 47, like fascism, like Trump. And it's not like Trump brought fascism to the government. Our government's been fascist for God knows how long, since World War I. Before that, over 100 years easily. And our government has been full of Nazis for a long time too, way before Musk got here. But they're just making it all more transparent, and now we're at a point where people defend it. They're like, "That wasn't a Nazi salute; it was a Roman salute." Meanwhile, you can just watch footage all day of neo-Nazis doing the salute the exact same way. Not to mention the Nazi salute is based in the Roman salute. Is there even really a difference? It was the Roman Catholic Church that was behind the Nazis. Again, the SS was modeled after the Jesuits. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see where it goes this weekend on Ignatius of Loyola Day. I'm sure they got some fireworks planned. There were there was footage of brawls that came out of the protest from a couple weeks ago. So we'll see how it escalates on April 19th. Will it turn into a Waco, an OKC? Will Cybertrucks unleash cyber attacks? We'll see what happens. So, all right. I think I'm going to wrap it up there for now, Truth Seeker. Just wanted to do a recap of everything buzzing, and I'll take this footage later and see if I can figure out how to edit it into some shorter clips with some nicer visuals. Because, yeah, that's going to be a project of mine going forwards, is how to... Oh, I see a super chat. Where can I get some good organic, non-synthetic weed? Store brands give bad reaction like heart palpitations. I don't know where you live. Like out here, they I gave up smoking a while ago, but out here they have labeled products. You can find out what's organic. You can also meet growers too. That could be a good way to go about it. Thank you, 13 Serpents, again, and Oliver. Yeah, Oliver, I think you got to do research on your area, friend. Thank you as well, Bob Lucky. I think, are all these coming in right now, or were they already there? If they were there before, sorry, I just saw it. And you could always grow your own too. Well, depends on where you live. If you have a medical card in a lot of states, you can grow your own. So, all right, but yeah. Now that I did that, oh, there we go. The problem with doing the stream this way is I cannot read the live chat. The font is too small. Oh, you know what though? Since I have a computer in front of me, I could suppose I could see what it looks like on here. Okay. Yeah, Jordan, I guess in a sense I do have a dual screen right now because I have my smartphone doing the broadcast and I have my computer in front of me. No, I don't think you'll ever see me smoking weed again. I told Sweet Lady I wouldn't. I did say that a bunch of times in the past too, but now that I have a little one, I don't feel right about smoking weed. I don't feel like it's right to be stoned when you got children. I gotta sacrifice it for the greater good. I gotta be sober for little Ruby. But yeah, I won't lie. I do miss the mean green. King C said they saw an orb around me. Well, I do believe in spirits and ghosts. I think that, you must not have seen my work when I lived in my house in Bothell, man. I'm pretty sure that was a haunted house. And we were told that when we bought the house that the daughter had died in that house. I do think her spirit was in there because some weird stuff happened in that house. And just like weird stuff that could not be explained. I have the one live stream where the lights just start going on and off. Like, what the hell? There was a time when I lived in that house, like it was just a box of what are the things that you're not supposed to put in your ear? Q-tips. Q-tips. It was a day I was at home. I was home alone. I was working, and there was this loud bang in the bathroom. This is back when I lived in Bothell. This isn't where I live now. But there was a loud bang, and I go in the bathroom, and the Q-tips were on the shelf along the wall. The Q-tips are just all over the bathroom. They're just like somebody threw the box, and the Q-tips just went everywhere. And the Q-tip box was on there. I was like, how's this happen? Like, it's impossible. Q-tips everywhere. So no, that house made me think that ghosts are a real thing. And the other thing that was weird about that house is when I first moved there at the beginning of 2012. When I first moved there, it was a local news story, but it was also a national story. I didn't catch the national story, but I caught it when they covered it in the local news. That year, there had been some other house that was in Bothell. That's where I was living. I was living in Bothell, which is just north of Seattle. A house in Bothell by the whatever the experts are for, like, what do you call it when you go in a house? These people, they have shows about this. They go in and they have their gadgets and they're picking up on the spirit energy or the ghost energy. I don't even know what the official terms are for this, but people like that had said that the most haunted house in all of America at the time was in Bothell. So I thought, and then I started to think about the name of the place too when I saw that, because when that was the story, I thought I'd already heard some weird things happen in the house since I moved in there. But I was like, then I saw that, I was like, God, is it something about this whole area? And then I started thinking about how Bothell literally has like the word hell in it. Bot hell. It's spelled Bothell. But yeah, it's just yeah, I think spirits, ghosts, definite possibility. So if you look up the video of where I was talking about why Trump was going to be the next president from February 2016, that video is uploaded numerous times online. That's the video where the lights start freaking out. So you can watch how the lights were just, I don't know, something else was controlling them in that house. Retard from Boston's back on YouTube. Yeah, man, it's crazy how he got internet famous. He was on YouTube forever with no following, and rightfully so, because it's one of the dumbest one of the dumbest people to ever walk the earth. Richie from Boston took advantage of the religious retards. Yeah, when everybody got censored and deleted from YouTube, he was like he took over. He became the face of the YouTube truth community. Retard from Boston. Terrible joke by Google. Yeah, paranormal investigators. There you go, Jordan. Paranormal investigators. That's the word. No, I wasn't in the closet. I was in the garage. I used to do most of my broadcasts at the Bothell House from the garage. You can pray away, King C. I appreciate it, but don't worry. Yours truly is safe and sound over here. I'm not too worried about any spirits or ghosts. Yeah, I think the real thing that gives you spiritual protection, if there is such a thing, is living a righteous life. But maybe then even not, because there's been a lot of good people that went to an early grave. So. If you have to ask me if I'm an agent, I guess I would just ask back to you, are you a moron? I'm the person who put out the most real information there ever was on the tube, the most undeniable truth there was on the history of the internet. And if you can't see that, it's because you're not a very smart person. And that's not an arrogant statement, it's a fact. Again, nobody else connected the dots like yours truly, broke the code, showed how the whole game is rigged. And for any moron to come on and go, are you an agent? You got to be a special kind of stupid. You sent me an email for an updated logo for your podcast. Did you send it to GematriaEffectNews at gmail.com? Here, let me see. It's giving me a hard time about getting into my email right now. I'll check it out tomorrow. I appreciate that. I'm sure it's nice. Thank you for doing that. The podcast name is going to be Count on It. By the way, let me see. The live stream I did earlier promoting the new channel, I couldn't even see that video on my own channel until about 4 hours after I did it. And then when I tried to touch up the video, it wouldn't let me do it because it said it was still processing 4 hours later. I was like, oh, this isn't a good sign for the new channel. They're already hiding the video promoting it from me on my own channel. And let me see. Oh, look, it's still in processing. Come on, man. It says this video was published over 6 hours ago and it's still in processing. And it's unheard of. No, it gets annoying how YouTube just purposely messes with people who use this platform to try and do good things. By the way, though, like if you want to use YouTube for something like making money, it actually is a great way to make money if you just do things that if you're just here to make money, and that's not truth telling. Truth telling is not the way to make money. I've been watching a lot of videos in the background while I've been doing my daily sports decoding, which takes hours a day, every day. Listening for tips on how to rejuvenate your channel, get your views up. And everyone's into the same things right now, using these little AI programs and using the trending topic. A lot of them are like, yeah, just go to your analytics and then go to trends. And like I can do this right now. So here's what's trending right now. Mark Douglas trading psychology. Elon Musk shocking predictions. Crypto trading secrets for 2025. Now, hey, there's actually one we could get people in on with the Gematria connections. Leonardo da Vinci predictions. So there's other things here. Trump's plan to kill second citizenship. So it gives you things that are trending. Anyway, I would like just look at what's trending and just make a video about it. You'll instantly get a lot of views. It sucks that it's like that, though. It's just like okay, so let's all just use AI and be copycats of what else is. Back in the day, you could build up a following by having interesting content, and then people got notified, and all of your videos got good views because people were interested in the content you put out. But not anymore. All right. Yeah, I do got to wrap this thing up, though. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And By the way, if I had to make my office also into my gym. I used to have a gym in a separate room, but now it's all in one. We cleared out the gym so we could make a room for little Ruby. So this room is extra cramped right now. Uh, I see the Sam Tripoli comment. I did a show 2 times, and I don't think they ever tried to get in contact again. I don't know what happened because yeah, he did say both times that they might have been the best shows he ever did. I think somebody told Sam Tripoli he better not touch this topic anymore. He's crossing the line. And so remember he had that short he had some kind of little show that he was doing there on the WB channel for a second, and that came out after the 2 times I was on there. So ever since he did that WB thing, there was never any other contact after that. But I'll always be grateful for Sam Tripoli. He brought a lot of new people to this work. And when we nailed the Tiger Woods Masters prediction, he put that out there, and it sent a lot of people this way. So, and again, I mean, he wasn't the biggest channel in the world. For people don't know who Sam Tripoli is, when Joe Rogan started his podcast, before Joe Rogan's podcast was super famous, Sam Tripoli was his wingman. But yes, Sam Tripoli is like a flea on an elephant's back compared to if Joe Rogan is the elephant. Um, but yeah, no, Sam Tripoli had a huge impact for the work. So I wish we would have done more streams, but I'm grateful for the 2 we did. Check out Max Romeo. Max Romeo, I see. Another reggae singer, dead at 80, huh? JFK was killed on his 19th birthday. He was born on November 22nd. I'm seeing one thing about his death. I see he died on 60 date numerology. That number has the racial connection. I'll look more into his death later. I got to wrap it up for tonight, so I'll check this one out though tomorrow. Max Romeo, R.I.P. All right, True Seeker, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share, and yeah, you guys can let me know in the comments too if you like me doing videos this way, just with the cell phone. Seems like sometimes people like the cell phone videos more than the ones where I share the screen. However, I always feel that this works better with the visual, because all the numbers with no visual can be overwhelming for some people. So let me know. All right, True Seeker, have a good rest of your evening, or if you're in the other part of the world, have a good rest of your day. And until next time.